Hello and welcome back to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's not quite as immediately after or soon after as I was originally hoping, but not too much longer after the last episode in terms of recording. Now, looking at this next week, hopefully I'll be able to edit this at a decent time. I did write down some thoughts that I had just in between. So the first thing is, I ended up remembering what the thing was from that movie that I was thinking of what it's called. It's called a monolith. This is made by Monolith. This game's... It's the entire point. It's like, okay. Great. Interesting. Very interesting. I'll be interested to see how that plays out. I'm still not really sure how I feel about the parallel world thing. I don't know. There's an element of cohesion here that I don't feel as... Parallel worlds tend to be one of those plot elements that are sort of like, ooh, parallel worlds now, so we can just explain away anything that we want. It tends to be one of those things. If it's handled well, I'll probably like it. But it's one of those things that make me be like, especially since it feels like it was sort of just, it's there now as an element of the story, rather than, I guess it doesn't feel as built up to as a reveal, basically. It's interesting, but it's one of those things. Second thing I wrote down, the feedback system that blades are based on. So, I wonder if there's sort of like almost a domino effect sort of thing to some of that hatred that Malos and honestly Jin is what I wrote down. So Malos got his original hatred for humanity as a reflection of the Praetor, right? Then Jin and Malos were like each other, and I wonder if there's an element to it where both of their perspectives, because they're two blades that are sort of going back with each other, like they're not directly connected, but they're still gathering information about each other, right? I assume this information gathering isn't just like through the direct connection, it's about everything they observe and whatnot. I wonder if by nature of generally being a reflection of a lot of that stuff, if you put two very hateful, well, I wouldn't say hateful, two people that have given up on the world next to each other, if they'd start to just reflect each other back and forth in terms of, and then just progressively get worse and leave themselves in sort of a limbo of being like that. Jin obviously was able to get convinced by Rex, but it's an interesting thought how much that element, because a lot of people are, in real life, are reflections of actual other people. Like, when you grow up, you learn by observing in a lot of ways. So that's not too inaccurate to that in general, but it's not as baked in to the core of what makes a person as a person as what it sort of sounds like blades tend to be. So that's interesting, how much that might impact a person, or impact a blade, I suppose, more specifically. Now, based on how they act in the game and whatnot, I don't think it's like a huge influence, if so, but it's just an interesting discussion. Another thing I thought, the mother. The mother for when the Praetor was dying, that was probably his actual mother, wasn't it? I didn't think of that until like I went back and reviewed the footage of all that, and I like started putting it in to prep it for editing and whatnot, at least. But that's his actual mother. It's not like he wasn't saying it in the same way that he was saying father to refer to the architect and stuff like that. That's something I just didn't realize at the time. The Colossus split between two personalities. It's an interesting one. I half wonder if there is an element to it where, like, elements of his personality were left in this, and other elements of his personality were placed in the Xenoblade 1 universe. And while that doesn't necessarily mean it's like good or evil split, it could mean if there is a tendency between that segment of the personality split to one side or the other, it would, through their new basic life there, because what they are is what's left, they might turn into someone who trends to observing the world in a certain way, and that would progressively add on to the new person that they become over time, because a matter of who a person is often, and I'm guessing the fact that you have those two different fates is part of the theme of that being a thing, the identity. Who a person is, in my opinion, is who they are at that moment. The you of yesterday is the you of yesterday. It's a previous version of you. It's still you, but it's not the you of now necessarily. So if you split off two elements of personality that might take different parts of it, and you put them in two separate scenarios, they might develop differently, basically. And if one side has more of the evil tendencies of a person, or if you have like the view of the world that gave up on humanity and the idealism that sort of seemed to spawn the desires to do the conduit stuff like we saw in the cutscene and whatnot, I guess my point is that there are elements that if you cut out parts of them, but you leave the other ones, it would be more of an evil one and the other side might be more of a good one. And then, like I said, they each go their different directions and develop into completely different people, in a sense. And I feel as though that's actually pretty interesting. I think that latter part is the important part. It's very interesting as a plot point, though. The last thing I wrote down, Driver Blade Resonance. I still don't get that. Because the whole point of blades is to observe people, right? I'm gonna write down
Look alive!
It's a new day. Oh, it's a new day already? Man, we are just letting this place get destroyed. I'm just gonna write down exactly what I wrote down because this is the most elaborate one in terms of my notes. Driver Blade Resonance. Wait, why would it deny anyone if they're just observers? Lol. I wrote down lol. I'm sorry. Or maybe it's people they deem better for the next stage of cycle for development, but how would they know that before even connecting to them? That's sort of the thing. The Blade Resonance thing didn't feel like it made sense to me. I guess maybe some of it might get explained in some of your guys' comments, since that video hasn't really gone up at this point, even in terms of last time and whatnot. But, that's something I don't get at the moment, basically. Why do some people resonate and some others don't? Because if the entire point of the blade is to basically be observers and gather data on life and whatnot, shouldn't they want everything? Even if they're gathering data on what's good and what should be used next, shouldn't that data also, one, come from the bad stuff so you can, understand what the bad stuff is? And two, even if you were picking and choosing who was, worthy of being the basis for the next stage of life and whatnot, at that same time, how would you know if they're worthy or not before? I don't know. It seems if the entire point of the blade is to gather that data that's good and whatnot, you would need that data beforehand to determine if they're good, if they're worthy or anything like that, for being the basis and whatnot, right? You'd already need that in order to make that conclusion. If you already knew enough about what was good and what was bad and whatnot, you wouldn't be able to. You'd already have the information on what should be done. There's something I feel like I'm missing there, basically. But that's the last thing I wrote down. In general, I find it's very interesting. I wonder how much more information we're going to get off. I wonder if that's the last big info dump, or if we're going to get more. If that's the equivalent of Alvis stepping to the side and saying, "Shook, well, this is what really happened in the space station and whatnot in this game," or if there's going to be
world has many amazing places in it.
something extra at the end. Oh shit, he's already going. Well, that's gonna be a hard thing to come back from.
Are all of those sirens? He's really trying to destroy all of Orest.
Let's hurry, guys!
Another thought. Because the point that I felt like Claus was saying last time was that he felt like it was doomed to fail on the basis of humanity turned, like, my whole attempt here was doomed to fail because there will always be someone who will turn out like I did previously, basically, and try to do the same thing. And then Rex is the answer to that, right? I wonder, because the Cloud Sea is supposed to be, what did he say, like special matter in order to enable the development of Titans, right? Specifically, was it? I've been doing some other stuff, so I'm not remembering all the details exactly at the moment. I haven't edited it yet, but I wonder if that could be removed now without any, so we don't actually have to worry about land. Like, the Titans going down wouldn't be that big of a deal. We just need to not have anyone die horribly. They'll probably die horribly, though. Being realistic here. That's not even a named enemy. What the hell? Let's ignore that. Big, foreboding motherfucker. Well, that looks like a council over there. What'll this open? I've noticed a few... Yeah, hangar door, okay. There's been a few other doors that have seemed to have been closed off to me. I haven't noticed any way to open them, at least. Ooh. Okay, I think that's what I came across earlier. But if so, that was pretty simple. I just needed to... It's just a shortcut, basically, down there? Huh. Okay, well, this should be open. I didn't see anything else of note. I'm guessing this was supposed to be, like, a... They weren't, like, named enemies, though. I was gonna say a boss rush thing, but... I'm actually sort of really happy I turned off enemy. Oh my goodness, enemy aggro stuff. At this point, I just want to move on. Because I'm more curious about the story. The boss battles are by far the most interesting. The boss battles and mini-boss stuff like the named enemies are by far the most interesting element of the battle system. Because, I'd say the element of the battle system that really works in this is that it's very active and it's very interesting to make, like, small adjustments here and there in order to execute well, essentially. And, that's not nearly as interesting against grunt enemies.
Malos is a powerful foe.
But we can't afford to give up now.
Indeed. If we give up hope here, there will be nothing left of Orest.
That'd leave all the people we care about dead, and a whole bunch of innocent folk besides.
That worst possible outcome.
But we're not in this alone. Jin, the Torna guys, and everyone back on Orest are counting on us.
We've run into all kinds of trouble on the way, but we've made it this far.
This may be the most formidable obstacle yet, but we can surpass it like any other.
When friends all together, nothing impossible.
This is it. This is our final battle. Let's show him what drivers and blades can do together.
Yeah!
Feels like it's telling me to save. Okay. Oh, I got affinity rewards out of that. Interesting. I haven't actually checked that in a while, have I? Oh, trust. Somehow I managed to get trust high.
I've grown.
I've finally managed to get the last level of trust on her somehow. I still have, like, Mithra I don't have full trust on. That's sort of hilarious. It's so close to. Oh, whatever. That's fine. I never really made much of an effort to actually fill those out. I just did what I could. and occasionally made an effort to fill them out when I wanted a specific field skill. With that in mind, how many of these do I got? Enough to make it worth it. Okay, one sec. Okay. Let's do this one at a time. Don't expect anything but nopes, but hey, apparently there was 2 left, I think. 2 or 3, I forget, that I could get from this, so I'm not expecting anything, but hey, wouldn't it be a nice little capstone on all this? But nope. 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 God damn it. I was expecting it going upwards, damn it. Nope. Last legendary one. I might do a little farming if there's like a good way to do farming for like legendary ones afterwards, and see if I can't just like fill out the rest of the blades. I wouldn't be a horrible thing to me if I could just get the rest of them, and that's a nope. Okay. Another thing that I don't think I've commented on, I guess I'll go through some of these while I talk about it, is it's very interesting how much the variations I've noticed on these over time. Have I ever talked about this before? I don't remember. A lot of them explicitly resemble different species, like humans or Miss Neko, like that. Miss Neko here in Nia. Okay, now I'll be a pain in the butt. Why does releasing them also have to be a pain in the butt relative to everything? I'm not gonna do it anymore. But they have a lot of variations. They have a lot of variations, and I had been thinking, like, some of them, like, I feel like they don't actually line up with any species that I've seen, but some of them might line up with just, like, animals out there, now that I think about it. They could legitimately be taking on characteristics like we had the one with the spider. Where is he? How much of him is, spider characteristics? Yeah. It's interesting. And, I'm guessing that, element that we saw in... oh, what was his name? Rock. Was a reflection of his old driver. When we had that scene, that was foreshadowing for that, specifically. So. Which is... oh, shit. Which way do I go? Wait, no. Okay, over here. Why was I off to the side? Well, either way. This feels like it's going to be a finale.
It's a new
So, as an
day,
FYI...
everyone.
Look alive!
It's a new day? Fuck no, I want to fight during night. The night environments tend to look nicer in this game. Well, in this series, I gotta be honest. So, like I was saying, as an FYI, my intent going forward is that I'm going to not do Torna right away. I think I'm going to put this on a little bit of a back burner. Maybe do the occasional extra content stuff. Maybe, if I get the motivation, some of the Blade quests. Maybe some stuff for, like I said, maybe farming some stuff and trying to get the rest of the blades. Assuming that it puts me back before the final boss after this. Because, yeah, I assume there's also super bosses, so I wouldn't mind taking a shot at those even if I fail miserably. Especially since leveling up in this seems so very straightforward in a lot of ways. And I haven't used almost any of that, so I have a lot of that built up too. So, I'll come back and do Torna as a regular series on the channel at, I don't know exactly when, but at some point after I finish Cold Steel 4 at earliest. Maybe not immediately after. We'll see how I feel exactly then. But that will be the earliest, as an FYI. I'll say this again. If you open this door, there will be no turning back. Falling in battle will mean restarting from the title screen. The game will be saved before the final battle begins. The thing is that I don't have multiple saves. I don't have multiple save slots in this, so it's not like I can save here and then come back and do other stuff. It's just what it is, I suppose. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I guess what I do after this is highly dependent on whether it lets me come back and do stuff rather than like going to like a New Game Plus or something like that. So, let's do this.
Malos.
This room.
Just in time for the final act, boy. I've saved you the best seats in the house. I sounded just like Akos for a moment there.
Akos is dead, you bastard. So is Petroka. And Jin.
Figured as much.
Is that all?
What? You want me to weep and deliver a eulogy? What good would that do? They all desired oblivion, and now they've achieved it. Least I can do is send them off with a smile.
Malos, is this really what you want?
Huh?
Is this what you want? Malos,
I don't understand the question.
you must understand by now that none of this is your own will.
But it is, isn't it?
You have to see all of this came from a Malthus.
But I mean, it's like a kid.
Even if that's true, so what? And don't give me some weak-ass crap about how I should repent or whatever.
Here's the thing. Like I said before, the whole reflection of their drivers and stuff like that feels more like a metaphor for how like kids observe society and people and learn from them. So it still makes people who they are, even if it's a reflection of others.
Why don't you want to hear the truth?
Here's the thing. I don't give a rat's ass what you think, rat! So blades become titans, and titans give life to humans. Honestly, who even gives a damn? They can become whatever they want. But that man, he'd lost everything. He no longer wanted anything. He didn't even want to live anymore. And despite that, his life was the one thing he hadn't lost. Because he couldn't!
The thought of you forgetting me, it's like one heart is being ripped in two.
Words can be a curse. That curse was what kept him tied down here. A wretched tale, isn't it? This whole world is a wretched place.
Do not forget that you too are a part of that world. If it were not for you, for Amalthus, both Jin and Laura's lives may have taken quite different paths.
Exactly. That's exactly it. You've gotten smarter with age, huh? I'm a wretched being too. A hideous monster, far beyond saving. So, let's end this now.
Don't you feel anything? Father's sadness, the world he longed for.
How could I? That isn't my role in this world.
This man. Does he mean to...
Well, this should be fun. The green and red makes it feel like it was made for... Well, then again, maybe the other side's supposed to be him. Maybe I was misinterpreting the aspect of the red. Yeah, that is a little bit more pink in his color, isn't it?
Come at me, kid! Come! My partner! Give me all you've got. You better show me all of it! The extent of your will! Show me why you're here in this world!
Okay.
The enemy.
The
time to defend.
Let's go.
Focus.
My
To
will.
this guy who's
We need to
really far
settle
off.
this.
Okay, we'll get there eventually.
Judgment.
Quick shots. Rolling smash.
You can turn this maximum out.
See you on the other side.
Excellent kung fu.
You're in for some pain.
Brave throw.
You're finished there.
Hidden emotion.
Strong
Quick
shot.
and hard.
You're in for some pain.
I sense a favorable outcome.
Yeah.
Are you fine? Focus.
Have my thanks.
Ha.
Battle top.
Rolling smash. Yeah.
You're in for some pain.
Forecast is
Mountain
positive.
crusher.
Blind
can turn this into a
Now
Now it gets interesting.
Battle top.
Everyone beat as one.
Die!
Poppy, all power to weapon systems.
Almost let that one wrap.
Yeah.
There. Rush down.
Got it well in hand.
Yeehaw. This chance. Quick and
Unleash your
hard.
power.
Poppy will provide the points.
We may never have such a golden opportunity.
We got this.
Needs to get aggro back. Trying to, at least.
Yeah, you think it was tasty?
I'll wipe you.
Oh, did he back off?
Rolling smash.
X-Star!
There we go.
Time to shine.
We're almost well done. Okay, watch this.
This should be enough for you.
Unleash your power.
Give it up. Blade combo, third stage.
Boreas.
Yes.
Nice and quick. Spot. We can make the enemy hurty.
Shut up!
Unleash your power.
Boss!
Brave throw.
Steady.
Pretty much
Beam.
won this.
Yes.
Eat it.
You lose, everything will disappear.
Brave throw.
Then you'd better bring your best.
Eat it.
Unleash your power.
There we go, I think. No, come on. I still have aggro. Uh-oh. Oh no, I was building up to something. What's happening? I didn't beat him, did I? I was not paying attention to his health bar.
You're not burning anyone today.
My lady!
Zumak!
Don't trouble yourself. It's nothing.
Can you still not see? Stop the artifice, Malos!
See what, brat? The world's never gonna change if that's all you got.
change. I will change it. That's the reason we've come all this way.
Why don't you just let it go? Who do you think you're doing this for?
I'm doing it for myself. If it helps put smiles on people's faces, helps them live their lives together, then that's my role in this world!
Good on you, Rex.
Jin told me to take care of you. In his place, you know. Jin never wanted to die. He just wanted to connect with you. He did it because you showed him a path.
And how many people died because of it? You'd forgive him just like that?
Forgiving isn't that easy, but that's just the world we live in. We need to find a way forward within that world. Even you used to think like that. What?
Totally agree with Rex. What matters is the steps we take moving forward, not dwelling in the past or blame or regrets.
Today, we use our power to fell a god, and then seize our destiny!
Hurry. The time is nigh.
Well, there's no way that's... I didn't actually beat him, yeah? Okay. I wasn't paying attention to the health, so...
I'll show you the end of the world.
Oh, how close do I gotta get?
This is the thunder of justice.
I feel
Siren Buster.
excellent concord.
Maybe we'll survive defense.
Great. Great job, guys. This is sort of annoying that I actually need to get ridiculously close for this.
I feel
Not just that, but it lines me up well away from it.
Okay, watch this.
Punishment.
judgment.
Why not?
Enemies will become
Rolling smash. Maria.
Show you how
Tora can do it. Tora will show them.
Well done. There's a reason why I am special
I can keep
inquisitor.
going. Eat it.
Anytime.
Brave.
You're in for some pain.
Tora choose you.
no shortage of strength.
Oh, that
Roger that.
worked out well.
Blue flame, heed my call. Dance.
Feels like that... When does that ever actually work?
Let me do it.
Steady beam.
Okay, watch this.
Lightning buster.
Why not?
Tora
Anchor
choose
shot.
you.
No shortage of strength. Maria.
Unleash your power.
Out the juice.
Pretty much
won this.
Yes.
Shut up. Andropos.
Time to shine.
The time is now. Synchronize your attack.
Reiki.
Still your breath, and the mind will follow.
Steady beam.
Want me to get him?
Finish them.
We make the rules here.
Blade combo, third stage.
You're in for some pain.
Please leave it to Tora.
Unleash your power.
Steady.
Gives me a good excuse to get over here.
This is not your place to fall.
Time to shine.
I feel better now. Thanks, Morak.
Tora choose you. Initiated.
Friends to the end. That's us. Brave throw.
Let's take them in one.
Strong shot.
Poppy
Hold on,
Roger. Poppy Kitty is more up to date than
Let nothing distract you.
You want to taste the pure enough? You got it.
Cut deep.
I've got it well in hand.
Wow.
Roger.
Focus.
Why not?
Blind spot.
This should be enough for you!
Okay.
The next wave has
Oh,
arrived.
just noticed that.
Hit it, no!
There.
That's fine. What I want to do...
Why not?
It's all
I
yours.
can feel the power from here.
Let's bring an end to this. Let's begin.
Allow me to jump in.
Think you're up to it, Tora?
Tora, right on time. Go, go, go. This is power of Poppy. Rex, leave it to Tora. Go for
Oh my goodness, I forgot to put Nia back on him! What? I forgot to put Nia back on him! Fuck! Fuck! That's why he's not healing! That's why he's not healing! That's like his main healing option! Oh my goodness! I'm so dumb! I forgot to put Nia back on him!
Rex, leave it to Tora.
Go for... Don't mind if I do.
Star first.
You shall not escape.
Oh my goodness!
Bridget. For Ardanian honor. Think you're up to it, Tora?
Happy Cutie Pie at your service. Rex, leave it to
No.
Tora.
Don't mind if I do.
Radiant flare.
Oh my goodness!
Nicely
Let
done.
me
Really think they could stand against our true nature.
Finish him.
Heat, hey.
Why here?
Yes.
It isn't over yet, my boy.
There's a reason
Seeing
why
us
I am
eat in this
Special
fight.
Inquisitor.
Poppy Cutie Pie.
Cursed be.
Judgment.
That's karma!
Unleash your power.
In I go.
Try to keep
I'm
going.
still getting strong.
Try with all your might!
Cutie Pie.
With all your strength!
Did you see what Poppy
Invincible!
did? Sinister Aura. We can still win this.
The
It's
enemy's
time
element is
boy.
now
for the
dark.
decider!
Carve it.
Brats.
all the stops, huh?
Blind spot.
This is the thunder of justice!
Now's our Unleash your power.
The enemy's element is now light.
It should be good for building that up.
Danger.
Oh no!
Tora
Tora's about to die.
This is not your place to fall.
Blind spot.
I feel better now, thanks, Morag.
Hey, they're just standing now. Okay, well,
Rolling smash.
good job, guys.
Anchor shot.
Finish them.
Breaky.
Anchor
Turn
shot.
this in our favor.
Boreas.
I'm gonna show you how it's done. Yes. Please leave it to Tora.
Unleash your
Wave
power.
throw.
Poppy Cutie
level is significant.
Pretty
much. No shortage of strength.
Mithra. Got it well in hand.
There is a way we can.
Yeah. Decisive blow.
Scatter
Lightning.
Why not? Double spinning edge.
Getting better.
No bow.
Much stronger.
I forgot to put fucking Nia back on Rex. Oh no, that's so dumb of me.
Here I go.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't the last form. That was sort of really easy. Then again, I think the first game had a similar problem. Where when you came in prepared, it just became ridiculously easy on the final boss.
Let's get this done, so we can move on!
For the future!
I also sort of hope there's another form just because the main, like, gimmick of that was that he went so far away, no one did anything, and that was sort of annoying. Ooh.
This is the last gift I can offer you. The rest is up to you, my children.
Oh, it's damaged. Straight up.
It's been fun, kid.
Malos.
If only I'd met you sooner. Just think of the worlds I might have seen. But even so...
If I had been your driver, all of this...
Kids say the damnedest things. There was only one driver for me. All... in all, it wasn't so bad.
Malos.
In a similar vein to what I said before, I can very much respect that thought on the matter.
Looks like he's finally found it. Lady Moray. A meaning to his life.
Indeed.
Frankly, I'm a little jealous. After all, most people go their whole lives without finding theirs. I wonder if I'll find mine.
You've got one already, haven't you? And if what you've got isn't enough for you, well, you can always leave things to the next generation.
You've got a point. Surprisingly enough.
How many things was that powering outside of, Uh-oh. I feel like that's gonna... Yep, stop. Uh-oh. Yep. I had that feeling as soon as I saw the wide shot. A little more destructive than I was expecting. I figured it would just start falling, but...
What's going on?
That's... What's happened? At this rate, all of Elysium will collapse. What? Since the conduit disappeared, the power holding Elysium together was cut off.
What's gonna happen when it crumbles? Not...
Everything above this point will either orbit the planet or be flung into space by centrifugal force. However, everything below this point, the World Tree itself, will fall apart on top of all rest. No, that can't. The impact would destroy...
There has to be a way to stop it! Mithra, please! Mithra!
There is one way. Just one way to prevent it. 5 stories down from here, there's a control room for the correction boosters. If we can fire the booster jets and accelerate the whole World Tree beyond escape velocity.
Look, I haven't got a clue about boosters or velocities, but I'm gathering that we gotta get there, and fast.
Escape velocity means you guys won't be able to get back. Is that what you're worried about?
Okay, 5 floors down. Let's hurry.
No one else understands the risk of it.
Azurda! Poppy!
Unless you have another idea. Okay, she might have another idea then.
What did you say?
Poppy could not possibly...
Please! You're the only ones I can ask.
But...
Poppy. You promised. Didn't you?
Oh.
That below belt.
Please.
You're a real piece of work.
You give him data or something?
What is this?
Ships. Is this a port?
Oh.
Mithra? What are you doing there? Where's the control room? Mithra! You can't mean...
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I figured she was doing something.
This was the first lie I ever told you.
Mithra!
The only way to stop the World Tree's collapse is to use the last of Ion's power and annihilate the World Tree. I'm sorry, it is the only way. You all need to use one of those escape vessels and get as far away as possible.
What? The last of Ion's... Mithra! What are you doing? It'll be fine, right? You'll deal with the world tree, then come back, right?
I didn't figure this,
Wait!
even if...
Just wait, I'll come with you!
Oh, that was a
Damn
depressing...
it! There's not enough wire!
That last little bit of the sound was so
I
depressing
got it.
sounding.
Poppy? Poppy?
It's not okay. Poppy cannot.
What do you mean you can't?
Poppy made promise. Mithra say that Rex for sure ask Poppy. Say not help Rex, no matter what.
What kind of promise is that? Please, I'm begging you. All you gotta do is take me over there. The rest of you can just...
Rex.
Come on. Please. She's right there.
Rex.
Gramps.
Sometimes a man must know when to let go.
Why? Why?
Do it for her, Rex. Do as she asks.
Gramps!
Chum, how long are you planning on being a baby? She's the girl you love. You got to accept her decision. That's what being an adult means.
Rex, I am so thankful that I've met all of you.
Rex! Mithra!
Rex!
The core crystal.
You'll be fine. Without me now.
Mithra. Mithra!
That's the imagery I expected there. Then again, core crystal and whatnot. Maybe not the same, but potential for a new beginning all the same.
go there. I hope you'll help me. Rex, I'm so glad to have met you. Our time together was short, a fraction of my long, long years. But it's been warmer and brighter than any time I can remember before. You shone a light on my melancholy path. You showed me the way.
And before none of them know how to fly it and they can't leave. Oh, it just happens to be in the language they understand. That's good. Or maybe she's doing it for them. That is a nice attention to detail.
Thank you for that, Rex. Thank you for that gift of light.
Oh goodness, where are they gonna land?
So tell me, how was it being alive?
Do you really want to know? Well,
Goodness, I hope they have seatbelts. Goodness, I hope they have seatbelts. They don't have seatbelts. Crap. This might not have been a very well thought out escape plan.
Rex! Gramps?
You know, I think this form does suit me best.
Gramps!
We're heading down. Everybody grab onto something.
Cloud Sea is... The Titans are... gone.
I can't believe it.
Wait, the Titans are gone?
Is everyone dead? We were too late. At the land of Mortha.
So there's nothing left of the world but ruins?
We're crossing that rift.
They all look very... Wait, what? What did they switch over between?
Look!
Did the world get changed by Alvis or something at this point? Is that maybe what's happening? Because this reminds me way more of the ending of Xenoblade 1 at the moment. And it did seem to imply that it was happening at a very similar time frame. Ow. That's gotta hurt. Ow.
The Titans.
They're joining with the land. It's true. I think I see what Klaus meant by restoring the world.
Gramps? So Elysium was here all along.
You know, Rex, I think you're right.
Pieces of this. Falling the sky, or is this similar to the previous imagery for the core crystals coming down?
We're finally here.
That would be an interesting place to end it, are they? Ooh. Okay. Okay. So I am slightly confused more so by the crossing the rift part there. Because it was sort of just a fade to white, then suddenly the ocean. The effect they used for it more reminded me of, like, the world changing. And the world itself vaguely reminds me of the ending of Xenoblade 1, too. So I wonder if they're in the same place. Even if they're, like, on different parts of the world. Like, on the other sides. And that would be... You know, that would be a very interesting way to go about the series. Where you have a bunch of games where they come back and you basically restore humanity from like 5 different hubs or something like that. That would be really interesting. The core crystal thing makes me feel as though Mithra Byra is going to come back at some point or another. Albeit new. In a new form. They won't necessarily be the same person, obviously. But it'll be very interesting. Since the core crystals by themselves, even if she had a lot of power, it's not necessarily a thing where the core crystal functionality of creating blades and whatnot is dependent on that. She could be a normal blade, right? At least that's how I have interpreted it so far. Assuming there isn't any post-credit thing going on, Which, who knows, there might be. Let's get into some of my feelings about the game. So the bad stuff first. Let's focus on the bad stuff a little bit. I think I've said it quite a few times over the playthrough, but there are so many little elements of this game that... So the first game was really good. I remember going into it, and the thing that really made it work was those little, what would normally be disparate elements. They didn't work against each other. The game design knew exactly when to back off on elements of it. They didn't become annoying. They didn't do any of that stuff. There are some things that didn't work perfectly, especially as elements like, for example, when I was grinding at the end of the first game, when there was elements of the game design that sort of went away because the content was basically done. That sort of thing. But in that same frame of mind, what the first game did really well was basically be able to balance that, understand what works, when it doesn't work, and straight up just know when to do things and not to do things. What this game, know when to back off, know when to press, etc., etc. It was really well designed and took a lot of interesting ideas that could go very poorly if they weren't balanced just perfectly. This game, it has a lot of unique ideas with a lot of stuff that would really not work well if it's not balanced just perfectly. There's a decent amount of those that are not balanced perfectly. I'm gonna say that. I think I've talked about the specifics of them enough across the playthrough that I don't need to delve into them. But the things I thought typically worked were the battle system I thought was really fun as a thing to play, and hence why I'm interested in going back and doing the super bosses if it lets me do it. The story, obviously. I think the story was extremely well done, basically as I'd expect it. Emotional in the right spots. A really interesting lore and background, as well as having strong themes, as well as having very good music and cinematography, like I think I'm going to expect from every game from Monolith from here on out. As well as having really good character dynamics, and I'll say the character writing in this feels like it actually is significantly better than the first game. That was one of my complaints about the first game, is that it felt very much like a plot-driven story rather than a character-driven story where most of the characters were along for the ride, and you only really had one or two characters in that felt like they had a real strong character arc and stuff like that. In this one, I felt like basically every character was fairly well fleshed out. Tora and Poppy might as well have not been characters. They felt more like mascots. In terms of character arcs, so I'll ignore their lack of one. Zeke had a little bit. Actually, the interesting thing about it is, the more I think about it, it feels like the party members have some of the weakest character stories in this. That's interesting. Zeke and Morag, honestly, they had their elements in the story and a bit of a character arc themselves, but it wasn't so prominent and extensive that it felt like it was subtle, at the very least. I'll say that. That was fast. That was way faster than I thought that'd be. I figured it would be like, if they did that, it would be a, oh, that's a bit different. It would be like a cut to a few years later or something like that. Rex has largely established himself or something like that, and... Their expressions do seem to imply that they've retained memories of some capacity. In fact, Pyra's existence alone seems to imply that, right? Because she's an extension of the... Or I suppose both of them are extensions of the original. But they're based on, they're still based on the memories and a deviation of that and how they developed as people. So... I'm actually a little disappointed by that being so quick and simple. I'm actually a little disappointed. Huh. Like, her sacrifice, it made sense. It came together. What I sort of pictured happening was, if they were going to do that, like I said, it would be like a few years later, and Rex has properly established himself and with his new mindset in the world, and then it's just like one day suddenly it sparks up, and then suddenly there's this girl. Oh, that's nice. Hand in hand with both of them. Very interesting. Continue brings me... Where? Okay. So I can go do other stuff. Got it. I can also, theoretically... I didn't want to do this. I can also theoretically... equip Mia. How did I forget that?
Showtime!
How did I forget that until mid-battle, too? I think after that, I even went back and was, like, doing the light water combo, and I was like, I think I tried that again afterwards, just out of instinct, and I forgot that I still didn't have her. She's my only water throughout them in the setup. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I would say I thought it was very solid. I thought there was a very interesting... There's an interesting element to the conduit in terms of lore that I don't even know what to get into. It feels like there's enough moving pieces that it's hard to... At this point, between everything, there's enough moving pieces that it's getting hard to speculate on the greater whole of stuff. I don't know if I'm going to do a spoiler talk like I did the first game. I'm not sure if I have enough to say to make that worth it. We'll see. I'll make a decision later. But story-wise, I thought it was very good. It probably... It's hard to compare it. I was going to compare it to the first game, but the more I think about it, it's like, they're just different stories. Like, the really connecting element to them, I feel like, is more the underlying mystery of lore, which I really like in games when they use lore as a mystery and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. That's really interesting. When you have this element that sort of ties into, how does this work? There's like, and it's not like it's one of those worlds where it's like, okay, there's magic. How does magic work? It's magic. It just works. Or something like that. I always like when there's some thought behind, put behind it, and it's integrated into the story to the point that it can be basically a mystery unto itself. That's always fun, and I think that's the element between the two that really attracts me to the series more than anything. And it's the core running thing, but outside of that, I feel like they're different stories. So I don't really want to compare the two. Game-wise, I'd say the first game's definitely better, simply because it had a lot. It not necessarily the mechanics or anything like that. It just hits. It is designed better. Let's say that. It is 100% a better designed game in terms of its balance and whatnot. I will say this one is actually more ambitious than the first game in a lot of ways in terms of what it's trying to do. And that might have been a little bit of that undoing. But in general, I would say there's enough elements of this that just don't work and make me not want to touch them again. It's hard to say it's on the level of the first game, because what the first game did was excel at everything coming together in a really good balance. Music-wise, similar. It's all really good music. It does a really good job of attaching to the cinematography, which is really good, like I said before. I need to go back and listen to the first game's music if I want to compare them, but in general, I thought it was very good. It's one of the, probably along with Trails, that I constantly come back to in terms of music that I just listen to in the background. Sort of like what happened with the first game, so I thought it was fantastic musically. Artistically, I felt like they did a good job of setting up everything so they could tell the cinematography in a good way. I think that's probably the biggest stuff. Okay, so I don't think the graphics aren't great. It's a Switch game. They did a really good job of working what they had to give themselves the tool to tell the story they wanted in the way they wanted. I'll say that. I like the art style. I typically like this sort of art style and whatnot. But in general, graphically, the real important part is that they gave themselves those tools to do what they wanted to in terms of storytelling and all that. There are lots of little things that could probably make, if you were a game developer, like a good case study on what to do and what not to do in designing a game. But I don't know what else to say. Did I finish my thought about Mithra and Pyra coming back like that before? I don't actually know how I feel about that. So I forget if I got that through entirely a little bit before, but my thought based on how I felt like things were progressing was that he was going to be in this new world. He's going to set up, establish himself, work, and, do things to live life in the way that he feels as though is his point in the world, and like he was talking about before in terms of the meaning of his life and stuff like that, like in the final battle there. And then one day he'd wipe the sweat from his brow, he'd come back home, wherever he's living, and then just walk up, and maybe he has that like on a little wardrobe or a desk off the side, and just out of that corner of his eye he noticed it's glowing now. And then he's really excited, and he goes off to maybe like a hill that really resembles the one from Elysium and whatnot in the New World and whatnot. And this is all stuff that I just thought of as it was going, where it felt like it was sort of leading towards. And then it would be basically similar to that, where he'd resonate, she'd show up. I'd imagine in like the original form, because like I said, Pyra and Mithra, probably more Pyra, also Mithra to an extent, are alternative manifestations based on the experiences of her life, right? Rather than the original. I'd expect like a green hair girl to show up and basically be like, who are you? Or something else along, or it would be like that, where it's basically just smiling and then cut to black or something like that. But I'd expect her to not have memories, and maybe it isn't the person he fell in love with before, but, a new start, maybe again. And, it felt like that's the sort of ending it was leading up to, and then it sort of just gave him both of them back with complete implications based on, one, their existences, and two, their interactions with Poppy there. and their smiles and their other expressions and whatnot, the complete implication that they basically just, that sacrifice, there wasn't much point to it. Like, nothing was lost, nothing was sacrificed, etc., etc. You know what? I have a very similar feeling to this as I do to how they treated Fiora at the end of Xenoblade 1. Where it's just sort of like, oh, you want a happy ending? Let's do this sort of like forced and it feels like it's not really earned sort of solution to give you the sort of almost overly optimal happy ending to how things turn out. In terms of like the characters, at least. Have I been rambling for long? I don't know, but I've been recording for an hour and a half. In terms of what I'm going to do with this game in the future, I still have Torna. I am not going to do that right away. I'm actually planning with the completion of this, because apparently I'm completing it now, as well as Fate Hollow Ataraxia, to try to transition into a different schedule for the games on my channel. I want to have something where I have one JRPG-like game and one visual novel-like game, always running at a regular pace, maybe doing more, and then everything else in the weekdays-wise is wildcard. If I have a third series, it's just going to be wildcard. I'll do it whenever. And, basically, that's what I want to do, partially because of just career developments in my life that I feel as though, in terms of being tired and other stuff, isn't going to leave me as much time as I may have had for this in the past. I feel as though it's more flexible. There will be times when I will have just as much time to do stuff, but I don't want to feel like I'm not meeting my obligations like I basically have for the past month in terms of getting stuff out. Because I haven't really been able to get back up to speed because I've just been busy, tired, and stuff like that from my job and other hobbies and whatnot and other personal life stuff that has just developed over the years of being, the years I've been on the platform. But with that in mind, I do plan to probably try the Super Boss stuff at some point, as well as essentially, what do you want to call it? Maybe see if I can get the rest of the blades. I don't know. I'm probably not going to do any of the more of the blade quests unless someone has like one that would be really interesting for me to go do. I don't know. At the same time, I will probably do Torna, like I said earlier, some point after I finish Cold Steel 4. Whether that's the first thing I do after that, I don't know. I'll figure it out then. But I want it to be in that regular slot once I get to that point, so FYI, this is not the end of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 quite yet. It is the end of the main game. Very interesting in a lot of ways. I really thought it was a fantastic game. But uneven to a very noticeable level in a lot of the design elements rather than like story or anything like that. I enjoyed it quite a lot. It's hard to, I want to quantify how much I enjoyed it. Like, oh, it was like great. It was 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 20,000 or something like that. I don't know. But the more I think about it, it's more just like I just really enjoyed it. There's not really much more to say. It's like I want to express myself more, but it's just like anything more would start feeling insincere to just what I feel at that point. So, but I suppose the only thing that truly matters in life, in liberty, in pursuit of happiness, is sword whips. Oh boy, we need more sword whips in games. They're such a fun weapon. They're such a fun weapon. All hail the sword whips, the one reason this is the best game there has ever been. So, I'll see you on whatever I do next for this game. If you're stopping here for any given reason, if that's just what you want to do, then I appreciate you coming along with me on this fun, interesting, emotional journey. And look forward to you coming along on whatever the next journey I may go upon may be. I do plan on doing, because I quite like their games, all the Xeno stuff in the future. I already own stuff to play Xeno Chronicles X, and I very much would be interested in playing the Xenogears and Xenosaga. Wait, are those all? I forget. Some of them are related, at least. Maybe not all of them. I don't know. It's okay. But with that said, all hail the level 69 sword whip user. I'll see you all whenever I see you next. Thank you for coming along. I really appreciate it. It's been a good one. So see you whenever that is. Drive safely, everyone.